US President Donald Trump is pushed on the brink of being impeached. Within the past hour, the House Judiciary Committee has voted to approve 2 articles of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress against Trump.
Mr. Chairman, there are 23 ayes and 17 noes.
The article is agreed to. The resolution as amended is ordered reported favorably to the House.
Well, the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives will vote next week on whether to formally charge the president and send him for a Senate trial. Trump's accused of breaking the law by withholding aid to pressure Ukraine into investigating political rival Joe Biden.
Today is a solemn and sad day. For the third time in a little over a century and a half, the House Judiciary Committee has voted articles of impeachment against the president for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The House will act expeditiously. Thank you.
Well, we'll go to our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett, in just a second. But first, let's talk to Heidi Jo Castro, who's live on Capitol Hill. Heidi, just catch us up on what happened and what's been decided.
Hey, Julie, so yesterday couldn't have been more of a marathon of a partisan debate session, and this morning, the very opposite, the quickest action we've seen on Capitol Hill, with those votes coming first thing after the gavel was struck this morning, and then a very quick statement, as you just heard from Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jerry Nadler. But this is a historic moment, and there has been weeks of buildup to it. As you heard Nadler say, this is only the third time in U.S. history that a president has had an impeachment proceeding progress to this extent against him. And these 2 articles that have just been passed by the committee are abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, both linked to the accusations against Trump that he was pressuring Ukraine to launch investigations into his political opponents in exchange for security aid and for a White House visit to the president of Ukraine. Trump this whole time has said that he is not guilty of any wrongdoing, but Democrats have argued that there is compelling and even damning evidence from more than a dozen witnesses, as well as the phone transcript, the partial transcript that shared with the American public the president's own words asking the president of Ukraine for a favor, those investigations into Joe Biden. But where are we at now in the greater context? Well, next week, the full House, which is, of course, controlled by the opposition party, the Democrats, will then look at these same articles, and all signs are that they will pass. They have the numbers to do so. At that point, Trump would be formally impeached. And then looking into the new year, the Senate will hold a trial to decide whether or not to convict Trump of either or both charges. If he's convicted, he would be automatically removed from office. It is notable that no president in the U.S. has been removed from office from impeachment. Nixon had resigned before it got to this point in the process. And so many are asking Democrats, especially faced with the reality that because Republicans control the Senate and because their majority leader there has already said there is, quote, no chance Trump would be removed, then why are Democrats even going to do this in the first place? Well, the response has been that this is the constitutional duty of Congress to oversee the president. And Democrats have even said that they would feel complicit in Trump's wrongdoing if they were to not do anything at all. Julie.
Heidi Jo Castro there, live with the latest on that from Capitol Hill. Thank you. Well, let's go to our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett. So, Kimberly, they've had enough after 14 hours of debating those amendments on Thursday. And I guess we've seen Trump be extremely vocal, haven't we? And part of the tone of that seems to be, let's just get on with it.
Yeah, I think the headline here, Julie, to be really clear, is history has just been made on Capitol Hill. And this is a president who sees this as a stain on the legacy that he says he's been fighting for in terms of his agenda for the American people. Statement coming from the White House press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, just in the last few moments. This desperate charade of an impeachment inquiry in the House Judiciary Committee has reached its shameful end. The president looks forward to receiving in the Senate the fair treatment and due process which continues to be disgracefully denied to him by the House. Of course, that coming in advance of the full House vote next week, where we do expect that the president will be impeached along party lines. But this is a White House in a fighting mood. Already we know there's been reporting that the president's close ally and personal friend, as well as legal advisor, Rudolph Giuliani, who, of course, his own name has been brought up in this Ukraine impeachment inquiry repeatedly for conducting shadow diplomacy outside of the regular channels, also causing some problems for the president, is apparently here at the White House. The White House not saying why he's here or what they're gaming in terms of strategy. But we do know that there is a difference of opinion between the president and his allies here on the White House campus and the Republicans up on Capitol Hill. This is a president that wants a swift trial. He wants to be able to call witnesses. The Republicans on Capitol Hill, on the other hand, want to see something very quick, no calling of witnesses, because they want to quickly acquit the president. But this is more than just the acquittal. This president, not only does he seem to want to clear his name, he also wants to get out information on his political rival, namely the fact that they want to call the witness Hunter Biden, the son of former Vice President Joe Biden, who, of course, has been drawn into all of this as a focus of that phone call between the U.S. president and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy back in July. So this is certainly something that we are getting a sense increasingly that the president, feeling personally aggrieved by this, very thin-skinned, we know, fighting back in a fighting mood. We're watching very carefully as he has some public events moving forward, whether or not he will speak about this, as he has been tweeting, pushing back, claiming no wrongdoing on social media.
Kimberly Halkett there live from Washington, D.C. Kimberly, as always, thank you.